Hi guys, Josh here, aka Beards and Books. Today I'm doing the no disclaimers tag. Hope you enjoy. So guys, I was tagged in this by Courtney over at Court the Reader. I will leave a link to her channel below. Make sure you check her out. She's got some great content. As always, I'll leave a link to the original tag down below, so please make sure you check out the original. It is great to support the people that create these. This tag's a lot of fun actually, because usually tags are all about positive stuff and what's your favourite, but this one's actually quite negative, which makes a nice change. Question number 1. Which trope or tropes annoy you the most in reading? So I'm going to go for the most obvious one that springs to mind, and that is the love triangle. I don't really read anything sort of romantically based, but a lot of stories will bring in romance to sort of add to the dimension of the characters and such. The one that really springs to mind is in the Mortal Engines series. So I've read the first 2 books, Mortal Engines and Predator's Gold. Really enjoyed them, definitely carrying on with the season. But in the second book, there is a love triangle added into the story, which just feels a bit pointless to me. The main characters are really tight, they're done really well, and then this new character is brought in, which kind of shakes everything up. And knowing the characters as you do from the first book, it's hard to believe that this extra character would have come in and just changed everything. So it's just a trope that I think is unnecessarily and doesn't add anything to the story. Question number 2. Which writer or writers do you feel are overhyped? I'm going to give a boring answer for this. I can't really think of any honest answer. The reason I can't is because even if I was to think that a writer is overhyped, or I don't necessarily enjoy their style of writing as much as other people do, that's just personal preference. So I don't think it's necessarily that any are overhyped. Question number 3. What are your least favourite books that you've read since joining BookTube? So I haven't been on BookTube very long, and I've been quite selective with my reading in the time I've been on BookTube. So I haven't read any books that I would necessarily describe as bad books. But one of the last books that I finished was Trigger Mortis by Anthony Horowitz, which is one of the James Bond novels. I have put a spoiler-free review up, so I will link it above if you wanted to listen. It was okay. It was a good book. It wasn't anything special. So it's not that it's bad, but out of all of the books I've read, it would be the worst one so far. Question number 4. A terrible ending that ruined an otherwise quality book. Now, I struggle to think of one for this because I can't think of any books that I've read that I have pictured as being quality that have then ended really badly. The first one that comes to mind is The Man in the High Castle by Philip K. Dick. Now, I am not describing this book as quality. It's quite a slow read. It's an alternate history book, so it's interesting, but nothing really happens in the series. Sorry, in the story. The reason I would use it in this answer is because it starts to build up and it starts to get interesting towards the end, and then it just ends with nothing really happening. So it's not a quality book, it's a slow book, it's an okay read, but the ending, just when I thought it was getting good, it just flopped. Question number 5. Which fictional characters do you wish were not killed off? Now, for this one, I'm going to go for Ned Stark in Game of Thrones. That's a massive spoiler if anyone hasn't read or watched Game of Thrones, so I apologise in advance, just blame me forever. Ned Stark's a great character. I completely understand why he has to die, because the way the story goes and the way the story develops, it wouldn't really work with him as a character being in there. But I would have liked to have seen the character stay in for longer, especially to help with the Stark family. Just really to see how it would have developed and how it would have grown with him in there. Like I said, I understand why he was killed off, but he's such an interesting character, I would have liked to see more of him. Question number 6. What are some of your bookish pet peeves? So I've got a couple for this. Now, first one, I buy a lot of books from my local charity shop, and there's always stickers on the books. Now, the charity shop don't put price stickers on there because it's all in like a set pricing. But it seems that like people that have had them before have put stickers on there, and it drives me mad because I have to spend ages taking them off, polishing them. I'm not about stickers on my books. Second up would be this. Author pictures taking up the whole back cover, or even just big pictures. So this is it. It's Stephen King. This is such a big and popular book, but for some reason we need a big picture of Stephen King with a guitar on the back. It just makes no sense to me. Finally, one that I think a lot of people are going to burn about, movie tie-in covers. I don't get it. I don't feel the need for it, because if I'm reading the book, I'm reading the book. I don't need to know that. I don't need to see the characters from the movie on the front. It just bugs me. I still buy them sometimes because they tend to be cheaper half the time, but I just think it's pointless. Question number 7. Which books do you feel should get more recognition? So I've chosen 2 books for this. I've chosen The Girl with All the Gifts, which for some reason is always really difficult with lighting, and the Mortal Engines series. So I'll touch on The Girl with All the Gifts first. This is a zombie dystopian style book. It's really character driven, really interesting. I say it's zombies, but it's more character focused and it's more of a thriller than anything sort of sci-fi or sort of horror based. I did include it as part of my top 5 books of the year so far review, so I will leave a link above if you want to read it. It's not one I've heard a lot of booktubers talk about. I think that might be due to the... It came out a little while ago. It's British based, so it's set in England, which I don't know, just hasn't got as many people interested. But it's really, really well done. There was a film tie-in that was done that was also really good. The book, as always, is better. Definitely one to check out. And second book would be the Mortal Engines series by Philip Reeve. This is a really interesting YA series. It's a 4-part series, I believe. There's a film coming out that is being directed by Peter Jackson soon, who did the Lord of the Rings series, so it's just going to be brilliant. But it's a dystopian, end-of-the-world book series. It's set quite far in the future. It's not specified how long, but essentially due to global warming and earthquakes, the major cities of the world have had to become what's called traction cities. So they're always moving. They're essentially big cities on wheels, and it's all about how those cities then fight for scraps, for spare parts. Really interesting, really good characters. Definitely a series that I'll be carrying on with, and definitely one you should pick up. It's a quick read as well. It's only 300 and something pages. So if you fancy something simple, YA, dystopian, take a look. Question number 8, what are your thoughts on censorship and banning books? So it's not something I've really given a lot of thought to in the past, probably because I don't really know of any books that have been banned or censored. I suppose I'd say I don't agree with it in terms of I think everyone should be free to read what they want, but at the same point, I imagine it would take something really bad to be included for a book to be censored and banned. So I suppose it really would for me depend on just the content and what's involved. Question number 9, who do you tag? So I've filmed a whole bunch of tags today and I'm starting to forget who I've tagged in the other videos. So if I tag you twice, I completely apologise. I'm going to tag Preston over at the Ball City Reader. I'm going to tag Sarah at Sarah's Bookish Club. And I'm going to tag Sarcasm and Sci-Fi. I don't think I've tagged you in anything. So guys, I really hope you've enjoyed the tag. As always, I will leave the description for the original tag below. Let me know your answers. What would you have done differently to me? And I hope to see you make this video in the future. Speak soon. Bye-bye.